Right, so today we are going to be looking at arguably the most infamous episode of Gordon Ramsay's Hotel Hell, featuring two of the most insufferable hotel owners in the show's history. So in this series, Gordon Ramsay tours the US, visiting struggling inns and hotels to see if he can turn around their misfortunes. Today, Ramsay is off to the Juniper Hill Hotel, a self-proclaimed luxurious and historic lodging filled with supposedly museum-quality antiques and paintings, and situated on a beautiful hilltop in Windsor, Vermont, USA. However, despite charging around $300 per room for the night, the hotel is currently hemorrhaging money, losing on average an eye-watering $200,000 per year. With the owner's initial investment of just over $1 million almost completely exhausted, the business is on the brink of bankruptcy, and the root cause of those financial issues is also the root cause of the episode's infamy, and that is the insufferably arrogant owners, Nikki and Robert Dean II. Yup, that is unironically what he calls himself. Will the deluded pair manage all the operations of the hotel? And with bookings at an all-time low, they've called in the help of Gordon Ramsay. Will he be able to turn this sinking ship around? And if he is able to, once he gets to know the owners, will he even want to? Well, there's only one way to find out, so let's start off by meeting Robert.
I've always thought that you should live with nice things if you can afford them. The guests that we don't want here are people who don't have a lot of money.
So problem number one, he's a pretentious asshole. It is no surprise from this introduction that according to Gordon's initial research, the locals believe that the hotel and its owners are out of touch with the surrounding area. So with Ari and Robert essentially closing the door on a large local market, the hotel is suffering from a jaw-dropping number of empty rooms and catastrophically low cash flow. However, despite the business's financial struggles, Robert doesn't hold back from living a lavish lifestyle. Apparently, he loves to show off and treats the place like a playground for all of his friends, offering many of them rooms and all the inclusive extras, completely free of charge. With all these unnecessary additional expenses and hardly any actual paying guests, it's no wonder the hotel is struggling. So, with the initial diagnosis complete, it's time for Gordon Ramsay's arrival. And unfortunately, the good first impressions that come with the beauty of the building and its surroundings don't last long.
You're kidding me.
It's locked.
Jesus, who wants to enter through the back door?
Pissing off Ramsay before he's even stepped foot in the hotel is an awful start. You'd think given they knew he was arriving, they would have laid the red carpet out for him. But not only did they not do that, they didn't even put up any signs telling him or any of the other guests where to go.
Oh,
Bloody hell, what a nightmare.
I'm Robert Dean.
Robert Dean.
Were you over there?
I was at the front door, yes.
Okay, this is actually our entrance, and in the winter, because of snow, we have to keep that locked, because
Why?
otherwise the snow load comes off and kills people.
Kills people.
Yeah, it can.
A risk of death before you're even indoors. The nightmare start continues. Well, before Ramsay gets a first look at this hotel from hell, a quick message from today's sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a recipe box delivery service with more than 44 recipes per week, starting from just £3.15 per portion before the discount coming up. You can enjoy balanced and delicious eating, whatever your lifestyle and whatever your taste. As someone with a busy and hard to plan schedule, I love that the rapid recipes allow me to make delicious meals in just 20 minutes. And with simple step-by-step instructions and all the ingredients delivered straight to my door, I can spend less time thinking about what I'm eating, how I'm going to make it, and when I'm going to find time to do the shopping, and more time making quality content for you guys. Plus, as someone who cares a lot about sustainability, I love that the recipe box comes with pre-measured ingredients because it helps reduce food waste. Well, HelloFresh are now very kindly offering 60% off your first box and 20% off the next 2 months, plus free gifts using the code arthurtv24 by scanning the QR code on screen or by clicking the link in the description. Thank you HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the Hotel Hell. So after struggling to find the entrance, Ramsay gets a tour of the hotel and is met with even more confusion, observing that the reception area doesn't even have a front desk. Instead, guests are expected to know that they're supposed to check in at the hotel's bar. As the tour continues, Gordon's sense of disorientation only gets worse, and he notes that with the number of antiques and pieces of furniture cluttering up the rooms, it feels more like a museum than a hotel. As he enters his room for the night though, his confusion turns to disgust as he's hit with a stomach-churning waft of putrid air.
I mean, this is a beautiful room, but what is that smell? I mean, seriously.
It does smell.
Yeah, but it smells shit. I mean, that is horrific. Oh my God, it smells like sewage.
The shitty start just keeps on getting shittier. Robert says that the room has been out of action for 4 months, so goodness knows why he put Gordon in there. But unsurprisingly, there are plenty of other empty rooms for him to be moved to. And once he's finally in one that doesn't reek of human waste, he realises that all of this moving about has made him hungry.
What time does the restaurant close for lunch? I know
Well,
it's
we
2 o'clock.
actually don't serve lunch normally, but we're happy to prepare you something.
Is that a joke?
No.
The restaurant's closed for lunch?
Yes.
Why? Not only will that be incredibly frustrating for a lot of guests who will expect to dine in, but it's also a very easy path to extra revenue given they've already got a kitchen and the staff. To add to Gordon's frustrations, he then finds out that the restaurant is at the top of a hill, meaning the more elderly or infirm customers are far less likely to be able to go there even if they want to. Well, with a lunchtime exception being made for Gordon, Robert is off to tell the head chef Julian to prepare something.
Gordon is going to want lunch.
Huh?
Gordon wants lunch.
What am I supposed to do with that information?
Prepare some food maybe? That said, it was clear enough, but Robert's way of conveying that information was blunt and rude. And unfortunately, that wasn't just him showing off in front of the cameras. As the episode progresses, it becomes clear that not only is this the hotel from hell, but Robert is also the boss from hell. After sitting down for lunch, Gordon does what he always does and pulls a member of staff to the side to get an inside scoop on what's going wrong behind closed doors. This time it's a server called Barbara, and she gives some shocking insight as to what it's like working for Robert.
Barbara, what's wrong with this place?
Well,
In a nutshell.
don't get any people, like pulling teeth to get my paycheck.
You don't get paid?
It takes forever to get my paycheck, and when I do, it's usually something's left out.
A horrific revelation, but equally as troubling, was how she was looking over her shoulder and lowering her voice whilst making it. She looked absolutely terrified that she was going to get caught saying all of this, and you've got to wonder whether there's good reason for that.
I made $6,000 this year.
$6,000 a year? That's ridiculous.
My last paycheck was $48.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable indeed. Given this program aired in August 2013, the minimum wage in the state of Vermont was $8.46 an hour. That means for her last paycheck, she wasn't even paid for 6 hours work. Although she doesn't actually say how long she worked to earn that much, I get the impression that it was a lot more than 6 hours. Either way, not only am I surprised that she still turns up to work, I'm surprised that she's still alive. How has she been able to survive on $6,000 a year? And to make this even more insane, her last paycheck wouldn't even cover dinner at this place.
We're reservation only, though, so nobody walks in. We don't have walk-in.
How can you expect to appeal to the locals?
We haven't identified the appropriate people to come here, or
Hold on a minute. What do you mean appropriate people? Hold on.
people who can afford $59 for 3 courses.
Appropriate people? Where does he think he is? The business is losing $15,000 a month, and he's gatekeeping a whole group of people that could eat lunch here. And $59 for 3 courses at this place? What a scam. Even if they welcomed everyone, I doubt they'd find many people willing to pay this much for that. Gordon then asks Robert if he eats there, and apparently the dining hall isn't fit for him, as he eats in his motor coach.
We have a motor coach to the side.
How much was that?
Over $100,000.
$100,000?
It is a motor coach, which is the higher-end version of an RV.
What a smug little flex. His business is on its knees and he's out here throwing money into the wind with 6-figure vanity projects. And how shameless to admit it, given what we've just heard from Barbara. Like, well done on getting a high-end version of an RV. Now how about paying your staff their hard-earned wages, you prick? And it wasn't just the pig-headedness that left Gordon with a sour taste in his mouth. He orders food off the set menu and finds that the crab cakes are washy and soapy, the lamb is undercooked, and the sauce is sickly sweet. And after giving his incredibly disappointing feedback to Robert, the slimy little weasel wastes no time in deflecting the blame onto his chef.
I'm not satisfied with the quality of the foods coming out of the kitchen. I believe our chef has a learning curve to be where he needs to be.
Perhaps if Gillian was hired to be the head chef and claimed to have the skills and experience necessary for the role, this would be fair. But that wasn't the case. In fact, the previous head chef only recently quit, And surprise, surprise, it was because of pay issues. As a result, Gillian had to step up and take over the role despite not being ready. If he hadn't done so, the kitchen wouldn't even be functional, and yet Robert has the nerve to sit there and put all of the blame on him. With each passing moment, Robert appears even more despicable than he did in the last. Well, next it's dessert, but Ramsay is once again unimpressed, as he appears to be served only half of what he ordered.
And where's the other half gone?
It goes to another person who orders.
Oh no, I want my other half.
Ridiculous. First of all, Gordon is the only one there having lunch. There is literally no one else to give it to. And secondly, even if they do manage to store it so that it keeps until someone else orders it, they're trying to impress Gordon here. For a luxury hotel charging $74 for the set menu that Gordon went with, you'd at least expect a full dessert. The one silver lining is that Gordon does actually enjoy eating it, but as always seems to be the case in these shows of his, the one edible thing turns out to be the one thing not made in the kitchen.
That is not a dessert that he made. It's ordered.
Like store-bought?
Like through one of our purveyors.
What?
Serving Gordon Ramsay store-bought food is like punching an iron golem in Minecraft. It is an unforgivable sin, and Gordon doesn't let it go unpunished. He demands the head chef come out of the kitchen and step into the firing line, but when Julian reveals that he earns a mere $400 to be a head chef at a luxury restaurant, Ramsay's anger turns to frustrated pity.
I mean, you're barely surviving.
I don't know that I'm even barely surviving.
If you're not happy with your work environment, you should leave.
Are you taking the piss, or is this just an abuse for you?
Honestly, the putrid mix of entitlement, ignorance and arrogance is infuriating to watch. I'm sure if there were plenty of well-paying jobs in the area, they would quit, but that's just not how the world works. You can't just be like, well, if you don't like getting paid below the legal minimum wage, getting paid late and having your human rights infringed, go elsewhere. If it were that easy, we wouldn't have workers' rights entrenched in legislation. Anyway, Ramsay continues digging into the issues at the hotel, and his rage is fueled further by Julian's revelation that when the kitchen is under high pressure from orders, Robert is often found relaxing in his motorhome.
What are you doing to these people? This is your responsibility.
That RV is a symbol. And it's a symbol that you're separating yourself from everybody else.
I'd be very careful about coming down on me too hard.
And to threaten his employee like that, what an absolute degenerate. And what's he gonna do? Fire him? The previous head chef walked because of pay issues, and Julian stepping up is the only reason the kitchen is still functional. Fire him and you've got no one left. I'm not saying there aren't issues, but he got thrown in the deep end and is getting absolutely no support here. To add to the tension, Gillian tells Ramsay that he's been working very long days, and his last paycheck is 3 weeks overdue. With Gordon giving him somewhat moral support, Gillian turns to Robert and tells him that the entire workforce is completely ready to walk over pay issues, and Robert is completely unable to defend himself.
Anything to say? No.
We do things.
Oh, please.
What a spineless parasite. And the more Gordon digs, the worse it gets. He storms off and begins questioning other people at the hotel, and unsurprisingly, they all have the exact same issues. They're all paid late, they're all overdue wages, and when the check does come through, they're all massively underpaid for their time. And the troubles don't end there. Believe me, we are just getting started. So if you want to find out what happens next, make sure you're subscribed for part 2. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.